Hi, good morning, and welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast. This is episode 688. Yes, we are 12 episodes away from 700, which means we're also 312 episodes away from 1,000. Wow, that's a little, we're closer to 1,000 than zero. How about that? Anyway, if you're joining me live, please say hello. Hi, Thea and Melanie and Joe. Good morning. What day is it? Thursday? Happy Thursday. Hi, Grace. Good morning. Hi, Tanya and Carrie, Kiranjit, Angela, Judy. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great day so far. I am drinking something this morning that every time I drink it, I go, why don't you drink this all the time? Hi, Judy. Hi, Lisa. So I put not only fresh lemon in my water this morning, but when I was at the grocery store yesterday, I treated myself to some fresh mint and ginger root, which I don't know why I think that that's a big deal. Like, I don't allow myself to buy a $2 package of mint all the time. And I know why, because I tell myself, why don't you have a mint plant in your backyard? So anyway, that's part of the struggles that go on in my brain sometimes. But anyway, hi, Mindy. So in my water this morning, I have bruised fresh mint leaves, fresh ginger root, and fresh squeezed lemon. And it is heavenly, very refreshing. Hi, Rita. This is my second one already. This is probably, I don't know, at least 24 ounces, if not 32 ounces. Yes, I am very frugal at times, Jill. That is correct. Not always, but often. Yeah, so I think that's like 32 ounces or so. I'm on my second one already because it tastes so good. Hi, Val. Hi, Christine. Hi, and hi, Jill. I said talk to you, but I didn't say hi yet. Thank you, Mindy. Yeah, I have my hair pulled over into a braid on one side, and I kind of pulled on the pieces to make it look a little looser and bigger than it is, like that, like you see on Pinterest and stuff like that. It doesn't look like the girls on Pinterest. They have amazing hair. But anyway, I do my best. And then I put a comb on this side before putting the flower in. I have very fine hair, so the flower pin won't sit there unless I put a comb in first to make my hair a little stronger, I guess. I don't know the right word for that. Hi, Geraldine. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Yes, I will talk about my outfit next. Hi, Constance. Good morning. Welcome back to Create, Share, Inspire podcast, everybody. It's episode 688, and we're live in Southwest Florida in my beautiful tropical backyard. It's sunny this morning. We've got a few birds singing. The kitties have been in and out. We're going to do some fun things this morning, and I'm just so glad you all are here. Hi, Val and Mariana. So next up, let's talk about what I'm wearing. So I have on silver hoop earrings that I buy on Amazon. I buy this 3-pack of them. They come silver, rose gold, and gold. They're not real. They're $9.99 for the 3-pack of earrings. So I get the 3 pairs, and then I figure between silver, rose gold, and gold, I have earrings that go with just about any outfit. These are also the earrings that you can make the Kelly crochet earring pattern. The hoop ends up working as a frame for the crochet motif. So originally I found them for making that, but I end up buying extra packages of them because they're so affordable and so lightweight, and like I said, just so easy to throw on with any outfit. So you can find they're costume jewelry, right? This is nothing fancy. They will tarnish, and when they do, you buy another set of 3 pairs for $9.99. It's $3 for a pair of earrings. I'm okay if they get tarnished. It's all right. Anyway, so I wear these just about every day that I don't wear crochet earrings. Then I'm also wearing the white bodysuit that I told you about yesterday. This white bodysuit is different than the black one that I showed you before because it zips up the back and it has a shelf bra inside it. If you are not comfortable wearing this without a bra, you could definitely still wear a bra with it, or you could wear little pasties, and I bought some to try them out, and you can find those in my Amazon shop as well. Then I'm wearing one of my favorite crochet patterns. This is the Summer Love crochet vest pattern. You can find this in my crochet pattern shop. Comes in tons of sizes. Lots of detailed charts along with the written instructions, and there are supplemental tutorial videos for it as well. And this is made in Be So Fine yarn, which is my #1 fingering weight bamboo yarn, which is what gives it this incredible drape. I laced up the front and tied it, and what I end up doing is just leaving it tied to make it easy for myself to get dressed in the morning, and I just slip it over my head this way. But you could make the ties, you could tie it in a bow, you could lace it up like I did, you could lace it up further down if you wanted to, you could add buttons, you could add a shawl pin, you could add a butterfly clip, you could just leave it open. I mean, with a vest that has this kind of drape, there really is no wrong way to do that. You could also add sleeves. This is a very simple stitch pattern, so you would just continue on in this pattern to put sleeves on it as well. So you could totally turn this into a cardigan as well. Does anybody have any questions about that? And I'm wearing a very old jean skirt from Lucky Brand. It's distressed. I couldn't find a similar one in Amazon, so I did not, I wasn't able to put one in my shop. I think I bought mine on eBay, which you know I like to do sometimes. But it's super cute. I love jean skirts so much. One of my favorite things to throw on. And so yeah, so notice how put together the outfit looks with the bodysuit. The bodysuit tucks, it works better than tucking in a tank top. I mean, that is nice and smooth all the way around. Like, you could wear the tank top down, right? But I feel like this looks a little more put together and a little more figure flattering. So if you feel like experimenting with bodysuits instead of tank tops, I just recently decided to do it again. I haven't done it since the 90s. And a girlfriend of mine started wearing bodysuits recently, and she's like, you've got to try it. It feels so good, and I feel so much more put together. And I was like, bodysuits, really? And I got to tell you, since I bought that black one 2 weeks ago, I'm sold. I'm sold. I love the look. I think it looks way more put together than a tank top. Not that I'm going to throw out my tank tops, but there's, you know, there's so many different ways to style everything, and there's always good reasons for tank tops and stuff too, but I don't know. I'm excited for the change right now. Does anybody have any other questions about what I've talked about so far? Hi, Cindy. Oh, and Judy's been sharing live links, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Judy, and good morning, Judy. I have also shared links to everything that I talked about from my outfit in the video description box and in the fixed comments. So if you come back later or you watch the replay, all of those links are there as well. Hi, Samantha. I didn't swap my plans yet. I want to swap them. I'll do that. Maybe I'll remember to do that later today. I've got a busy work day ahead, so we'll see. Oh yeah, Christine, I've watched videos like that before too. Yep, I've seen where you can cut jeans and turn them into skirts. Does anybody have any other questions? A jean skort, Jill. I think I had jean skorts back when I had bodysuits in the 90s. That's what that reminds me of. I used to love those. Skort being that it looks like a skirt, but there's shorts up inside. Yes, I used to love those. Hi, Sandshell. Good morning. Oh, did anybody see the video that I uploaded last night? I uploaded a video and released a blog post to correspond with it. Describing all 60 colors of Be So Baby yarn. If you have not seen that video yet, it's about 4 or 5 minutes. If you want to watch it after the podcast today, I literally described all 60 colors, not either describing how much of similar colors they had in them, how deep or light the shades or tints were, and also describe them compared to the colors next to them. And when you see all the colors organized by color family, like we do on that board with the swatches, I think it really will help you to appreciate the different colors and what's similar and what's different about them. So I organized on screen, you'll see each color family, then I describe each color in that color family in the voiceover. And at the end of the video, there's a link to the blog post. It's in the video description as well, where you can hop over to my blog and see all of it written out static. So you have the ability to sit there and read it all and compare all the colors. You know, it doesn't go by quickly like in a 4 or 5 minute video. You can spend as much time on it as you want. And I still do have the color card, so if you do want a physical color card, they are available. But this is like a virtual color card, so I really think that it was actually really fun. I was overwhelmed at first, and I was like, am I really going to be able to describe 60 colors individually? It's like, that sounds really hard. But you know how excited I get about things and how enthusiastic I get. And I just started describing the first 2 colors, and it was like, woo! I just went on a crazy train color adventure and just whizzed right through it. It was actually really, really fun. It took a long time to do. I think I spent about 4 or 5 hours putting all that together yesterday. But again, to give you a virtual color card so that you can understand the nuances between each color, I think it's going to be really helpful. And again, if you have further questions, always feel welcome to ask. Put your questions in the comments on that video and I'll get notified and can help. Does anybody have any questions? What's Be So Baby yarn compared to Be So Fine yarn? That's a great question. Be So Fine yarn is #1 fingering weight bamboo yarn, and Be So Baby yarn is #3 DK weight milk fiber yarn. So they are very different thicknesses of yarn. Be So Fine yarn is a much thinner yarn that, you know, has this incredible drape for garments and shawls, and Be So Baby yarn is a thicker yarn. Can you make garments and shawls with it? Yes, but you get a thicker fabric, so you can make baby clothes, you can make afghans. I wouldn't make an afghan with Be So Fine yarn. First of all, it would take too long and it wouldn't be as warm. So that DK weight yarn is a thicker yarn for making. You can make hats and scarves and mittens and fingerless mitts. You can make bags. You can make just about, I mean, you can make anything with any yarn, but they are completely different weights, and so the gauge is completely different, and you know, the drape is different too. They're different weights and different fibers. So I hope that answered your question. Does anybody else have questions before I go further? Thank you, Joyce. I can't help it. I am I'm very enthusiastic. It's just my nature. I remember I had a boyfriend in my 20s. He was an malpractice attorney, and I'll never forget one time he said something to me, and it hurt my feelings so much. But he said, "You're so enthusiastic all the time. You're like that little puppy that gets excited and pees on himself." You know, it stuck with me for a really long time, and it's funny, every time someone says, "Wow, you're so enthusiastic," I think of it, and I shouldn't. I should rewire my brain to not think of it. But I gotta tell you, when a little puppy gets that excited, isn't it one of the cutest things in the world too? I mean, it was meant as an insult, but I don't know, excited puppies are so cute, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I would rather be enthusiastic than not too, Mindy. I mean, I think being friendly and bubbly enthusiastic is a choice, and I'd much rather be that way than another way. Mindy, the top I made here is made with Be So Fine yarn. Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very cute when puppies get excited. It's like when they run sideways because they can't, their front legs can't keep up with their back legs. Is that it, or something like that? Yeah, I mean, it's been, oh gosh, it's been 20 years. I don't take it as an insult anymore. I try not, I mean, I don't anymore, but just, you know, those silly things stick with you. Does anybody have any other questions? I've got something exciting to show you today. Hi, Diana. So I promised yesterday that we would convert this lamp cover and see if we could do a little surgery to it and turn it into a skirt. It's going to be a multi-part process because, first of all, Samantha can't keep up with her back legs either. That's hilarious. Oh, I finally can. I've been working so hard at retraining myself to run again, and I can run without having to take breaks to walk. I've been working on it for weeks, and I'm so happy about that. Okay, so what we're going to do, first of all, this was made years and years ago. So this particular shade of Be So Sporty yarn I do not have in stock right now. So this is a good example for you too. You don't always buy enough yarn, and sometimes the color sells out, and what do? You figure out a way to pick a complementary color or a contrast color to do whatever you need to do. So I will figure that out, and that won't be today. Today we have to do surgery to at least get it to the right shape for a skirt. So it is a tube already. Hopefully you can see that it is a tube, but it is a tube where I put a motif on the top of the tube to turn it into a cylinder. What's a cylinder? If you don't remember geometry, this would be the tube. This is going to be a good example. Okay, so imagine if this was straight down. This is the skirt here, right? The motifs were joined in a ring, so at this point it would have been a cowl, at this point it would have been a longer cowl, and at this length it becomes a skirt, right? So it's a very long tube. Then I took one motif and joined it to all sides of the tube to create a flat edge on it, and I did that because I wanted it to sit on top of a rectangular lamp. I'm going to use my little fan here for demonstration purposes though. So my fan is it's not a rectangle, it's a, oh, I better watch my skirt. So the fan is not a rectangle, it's a cylinder, but that's okay because it's actually more accurate than the rectangle was. So here we go, because these are round motifs. So you can see we've got our tube here. It's longer than the fan tube, but that's okay. But we've got that flat motif on the top here that we need to remove so we can revert this back to a tube. So what I'm going to do is cut this motif off. Now, if we were trying to salvage this motif, like let's say you made a mistake and you want to unravel it, that's fine. You would, if you're wanting to do that, you would want to look for the motif that has, or look for the section of the motif that has chain spaces instead of stitches, because that's where the beginning of the end of the round starts. And I recognize something here that shows me that this was the beginning of the round. Do you see how, let's see if I get this a little bit closer. Do you see how in these shells there are some heavier slip stitches along this side? You know what that is. That's because at the end of this round we slip stitched to join, and then we had to slip stitch across to here to begin the next round. So I was able to recognize here that that would have been the beginning of that round. So now if I travel down, I can probably find the end of the round. Let's see. I think this is the end of the round here. Now, if I'm lucky, I can not only find it, but then maybe even unweave it. Oh, I did. Look at that. So I found the end. I might not even have, oh my gosh, I'm not even going to have to cut it, you guys, because I found the woven in end. And so if I just take my time and unweave in that loose end, take it back out. Yeah, so when I was going to cut this, that was going to be last resort if I couldn't find this. But I hope you understand what I was saying. If you can find the beginning chain or some slip stitches or something that sets you apart, that sets apart one repeat of any given round, you can recognize where the round ended and then try to find the woven in loose end. And if you do, then you don't have to do surgery. You can literally just unravel the motif. And you don't know what else that means. That means I'm going to have a little extra yarn where I could possibly even use this yarn for my waistband. Okay, so I'm going to show you something else here. When you unravel a motif, if it wasn't the last motif joined, you're going to have some other issues. So turns out this mini motif was the last motif joined. So this was slip stitched to this one. So can you see how I can't unravel that any further? I actually have to remove it from there. But what's cool is that even though this one was slip stitched to that one, you'd think that that would mess this one and unravel it. No, it's fine. It's kind of magical, isn't it? Even if this was the last one, slip stitched to this one, and you have to literally pull this out from the loop there, it's still safe and it's still intact. Also notice that these two weren't joined on their own, they were joined with that one. So this would be a good time to grab some stitch markers. I've got a bobby pin here, so we'll just put that together for now. And I'll know what to do with it when, I'll know that they just need to be joined. But now I'm just gonna unravel this flat motif at the top, and it's going to turn my lampshade cover. Okay, this is the other issue. So until I get through this, I'm not going to be able to make that a ball. I'm going to have to leave it loose so it'll make it through those holes. That hole is really small, so if I start winding this yarn into a ball, I won't be able to get it through. So I'm going to have a really long string here as I unravel the first round. Once you get through that first round, then you can wind that into a ball. But to get through this first round with those slip stitches, you're going to have to leave it and try to avoid any tangles or knots because they're bulky too and they won't make it through one chain. All right, so we'll keep unraveling and then pulling through the next slip stitch. Whoops, all right, it's gonna fall off now. This would be a good time to I'm gonna lift the camera up now. I think you've seen enough of it that I can just keep going. And this would be a good time to have a dress form out here to put the skirt on it, but I'll show you what it looks like when I get through this. Okay, we got another slip stitch to pull through. This gets a little tricky when that tail gets long, and if you weren't trying to salvage the yarn, you could just cut this as you go, but I'm trying to salvage it too, which is why I'm going to try to bear with all of this unraveling. If you have mischievous kitties, don't do this around them. My kitties are oddly well behaved, and they could be out here and they wouldn't even step in this bed of loose yarn. I know, very strange. I could say, don't touch that. Okay. I swear they're more puppy. They act more like puppies than kitties too. I will look up for questions in a second. I just want to get through this round so I can show you the results. Yes, things like this is what builds our patience. Yes. Or things like this are what builds our patience. And see, I moved really quickly just there and I created a little knot, but that's okay. I'll just, another example of building my patience. Just take my time. Don't go so fast that you knot up your yarn. And if you do, slow down. Never pull on your knots. Always try to find where it's tight and loosen that first. There are very, very few knots that can't be undone. Sometimes I find that a T-pin like you use for blocking, they're very helpful when you have a tight spot in a knot. What I'll do is, I don't want to say stab it in there, but I will pierce the knot, trying not to pierce a thread, but just pierce the knot. And by doing that, I create some looseness in the knot, and it's the looseness in the knot that allows you to finest spot to weaken it even more. And the more you can weaken the knot, the more likely you are to unravel it. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to go slower this time. Sorry, I'm not keeping up with comments while I do this. I really want to get through it so I can show you the results. So bear with me. It'll be worth it. I think you're going to really like seeing. I could really use one of those pins right now. I might have to go in and get one. I created another little knot in here. I should probably go get a pin anyway, because it is a great secondary tutorial to share with you of how you loosen up knots with a pin. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a pin. One second, or 1 minute, let's say. Okay, I'm kind of glad that this happened, because this really is a great secondary tutorial to show you how to get out a knot when your fingernails just aren't getting in there. So I've got a little knot here, and I've tried, sometimes it's helpful to pull from this side instead of this side, and it's just tight on there. So I don't know if you can see it, it's really tiny on there. So what I'm going to do is take a T-pin and try to weaken the knot by just inserting the needle in there, or the pin in there, and just kind of wiggling it. You could do this with a yarn needle too, or even a sewing needle. And see how I'm just wiggling? I'm trying to make some space in the middle of the knot, and by doing so, it's loosening the knot and giving me a little more meat to hang on to unravel the knot. And the key to doing this is trying not to split the yarn. If you split the yarn, you can actually make a bigger mess, but as long as you work in the folds of the knot and not pierce the knot, voila, you can undo a knot. Isn't that great? I'm sorry I haven't taught that before. That's actually one of my favorite go-to tips for knots. I suppose we could talk all week on how to unravel knots, right? Sometimes it's practical, sometimes it's not, because you know what, sometimes it takes a long time to unravel knots, and that's really not interesting to most people to watch. But if you have the time and the patience and the right attitude, there is no knot that you can't fix. There isn't. And honestly, most of the time when someone has a really disastrous knot, most of the time it's because they made did some of the things you're not supposed to do in the beginning. It's really easy for a small knot to turn into a big knot if you pull on it in the wrong way. It's easy to do. It is an important subject, Hills. I agree. Okay. Oh, we're on our last slip stitch. Voila, we got it. So I'm going to slide this through one more time, and then I'll be able to wind this into a ball before unraveling the rest of the motif. And I've got another little knot here that I'm going to try to work out. There we go. So I'm creating knots right now because I'm unraveling and making a bed of craziness on the floor and repeatedly doing that and picking it back up. So, okay, so now I can wind this into a ball. We have done balls in the past. You want me to show you again how to wind a ball and do a center pull while winding a ball? Would anybody like to see that again? I haven't done that since the early days of the podcast. Okay, let's do that. So if you leave a tail about, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches long, you want to leave a tail first before starting your ball, and then wrap around your finger. I like to wrap around 3 fingers for the beginning, and I'll show you why in a minute. And I wind about 60 wraps around my 3 fingers to start. When I take it off my fingers, I'll show you why. Obviously, I'm not counting right now because I'm talking, but oh, I know what kind of thickness I'm looking for. I'm trying to keep this from unraveling. Okay, so now so instead of winding tight like you would normally start a ball really tight, I started the ball really loose, right? So now I can hold that as my center, keeping my tail free, and I'm going to turn it perpendicularly and put my thumb in there so that it is not tight still. I'm going to put my thumb in there and wrap in the opposite direction so that when I remove my thumb, it's still loose. So I'll do this like about half as many times as I did the other one, or maybe up to as many times as I wound in the first one. And then as it's staying loose, I can move my thumb out of it now. Okay, so now I can turn it sideways. So now I'm going to turn it at like 45-degree angles. I want to wrap so that the line is crossed between, so like let's say this is a T, I want to now do an X, okay? So I want to get a diagonal line over the cross between those two. So now I'll wind in that direction. Again, trying to keep this, oh, for goodness sake. I had one more end too. I have one more thing to unravel here, and I started this too soon. Okay, well, let's just do a little bit more of it, because then I'm going to show you how you use it. Oh, no, you know what? We're just going to slide it through that last one. Okay, we'll unravel the rest of the motif, sliding through the last slip stitch so that I don't have to finish this, so I don't have to quit this tutorial. Okay, so we did it in a diagonal direction. Now you want to turn it so that you're working in the opposite diagonal direction. So you're creating a T, and then you're creating an X, okay? And all the while, the tail is always facing my non-dominant hand palm, because I want all of this to be going around in that gyroscope kind of direction, kind of like when you see a center pull ball from a machine. You want to continue doing that where this remains the top and this remains the bottom, but you change angle as you wrap. So now we're doing, I don't know, 20 wraps before turning. And as the ball gets bigger, we will do less wraps before turning, but I'm going to do, let's say, we'll do like 20. Okay, so I'm holding it like this. I'm going to turn it, so turning it facing the front, facing the back, and all of a sudden that angle's the opposite so that I can wind in the opposite direction. I don't think I've actually done an overhead shot video, like just tutorial video of this. Would you like me to make a video of doing this? Because I could do that. I mean, I've taught it a couple of times live on the podcast, and I can remember doing it on the beach on the podcast at one point, at least once, if not twice, but I don't think I've ever done an actual tutorial on it. And it's helpful. Okay, I'm getting lots of yeses. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the feedback. Oh boy, let's see here. I'm going to set it down for a second because I got to fix a little mess in my lap, and that's going to give me another way to show you how to do this, because anytime you set your work down, one of the challenges, oh, hi there from Egypt. I've been to Egypt once. I went to Taba for the day when I was living in Israel. Okay, I've got my little tangle done. Okay, so once you set it down and you have to pick it back up, you want to remember that your tail needs to be facing down so that this side faces up, and you can wrap in the same direction that you were wrapping, And then when you turn it, all of a sudden the angle is opposite, so now you can turn in the wrap in the opposite direction. And then as you get going, you'll just make little mini turns. As it gets bigger, you make a couple wraps, give it a little turn, make a couple wraps, give it a little turn. So you'll see we are working in lots of directions, but we're always keeping this at the top and always keeping this at the bottom. If you're not mindful of that, you'll mistakenly cover up that tail, and then it just becomes a regular ball without a center pull. We like that center pull. And notice how I'm wrapping over my thumb and my finger too. It's just a good habit to keep it nice and loose, because that tail will not come out of the center easily if the wraps are tight. If they're tight, then you'll have to pull hard, and that's no fun either. You want it to be nice and loose. So the best way to keep it loose is to use your fingers to make the wraps bigger than they need to be, because then when you pull your fingers out, it's loose. The reason this is going a little slower is because I'm still trying to make it through that last slip stitch. I didn't want to have to start over. So we're unraveling this motif and sliding the thread through that last slip stitch on the soon-to-be skirt, all while making a center pull ball. So if you weren't doing all these things at the same time, it wouldn't be nearly as slow. You could actually build up quite a bit of speed. Oh, Samantha saved some ribbon yarn yesterday. That's great. Yeah, slinky yarn can be challenging, absolutely. Good for you. Okay, so I'm definitely getting a little more lax about the amount of turn that I do on the ball. The bigger it gets, the less turn, the shorter the turns need to be as you're winding. But notice the only thing that I have not done differently is this tail has to always be in the same direction. And I prefer it to be inside my non-dominant hand. I feel like it stays protected better that way. You could do it the opposite way, but whichever way you decide, you must stay consistent. And here we go. We're almost through. Ta-da, we made it through. So I've removed the top motif. So now we have a tube for the skirt. And check this out. We also have a center pull ball. Now in the beginning, it might still be a little bit tight in there, but because I went to that great length to make it loose, once I get that first little bit out, it should pull out pretty loose. It should pull out pretty easily. Well, then I have a little bit of I have one little knot in there. Okay, so you can see that it is pulling. I've got a knot. What is going on in here? All right, I need to do a little more knot removal. Thank goodness I have my little pin out here. Loosen that up. You get the idea. It will pull out. I still had a knot in the yarn, and that knot caught on one of the wraps inside the center pull. So in order to get it in order to loosen up that knot, I have to use my pin to loosen it, and then I should be able to pull this through. Yep, see that? I have that, and this was getting caught up on other strands. The birds do sound lovely. I agree. I wish I could sit out here all day. Wow, we've gone really over. All right, well, we've already done that type of a knot, so I've already shown you how to do that. It's just going to take some more finessing and some more patience, but I want to show you that we are much closer to this becoming a skirt now. So here, now those motifs aren't attached at the top, but you can see that once I attach the motifs back to each other, we will be able to have a skirt, and I can put a drawstring on, I can put a waistband and a drawstring on, and it's going to be amazing. So yay to turning something old into turning something new again. I am so excited to finish this and wear it. So I'll keep updating you on the progress of this as we go, but hopefully you got some tips for unraveling today. Hopefully you got some tips on untangling today, and maybe even trying to find new life in old projects too, right? There's no reason why, if you're not using something, that you can't repurpose it into something else. I can't wait to wear it, Joe. I'm already trying to figure out how I'm going to style it, and it's not even done yet. But I love lace skirts so much, and I think with my new love of bodysuits too, it's going to be a great combination. But super excited to show you guys how to wear crochet skirts. So this is going to be a long-term, a semi-long-term, but super fun project to teach you some things all along the way. If you like the podcast, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, that red subscribe button is in the bottom of the video. And if you'd like to click that bell notification button, it'll notify you every time I go live or have a new video to share. Yes, of course, I'll share the pattern, Christine, absolutely. If you, what was I going to say? Oh, if you have any friends that might be interested in the podcast or my thousands of tutorial videos, please feel welcome to share them with anybody as well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes here with me. Hope you enjoy chatting with me and everyone else here. I know your questions and comments are so helpful to me, and I love the fact that we can interact live together, even though we're far apart. It's just so amazing. Thank you, YouTube. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.